Of fun and learning? Get ready to blast off on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew on Radio Afinju every Saturday at 10 to 11 a.m. Listen to stories that will tickle your bones, games that will blow your mind, and music that will make you dance like no one's watching. Also lots of surprises and gifts to be won. So gather your friends, turn up the volume, let's have fun and make awesome memories together on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew. Only on Radio Afinju. Yay!
Here's a story for you about a gardener who grew a garden so lovely and fair. But one morning he found that his plants all around were moaning and filled with despair.
Alas, woe is me, what is this that I see? All my flowers and trees look so...
Hello, you're welcome to the show. A beautiful Sunday afternoon to you. How are you doing? It's a very beautiful day. It's always a good time to spend some time in the presence of God. Did you go to church today? I hope you did, because it is always fun, always interesting to spend time in the house of God. And if you did not go, you can also catch up with me here on my Bible stories here at Radio Afinju. Here I tell the Bible stories in the most basic way possible, in the simplest way possible. Try to simplify and enjoy the Bible in the ways that even the smallest child can understand. So with that, you're welcome to my Bible stories show. My name is Pearl Durotoye and I'm your host for this show. Together we'll be going through the Word of God. We're going to be reading beautiful stories from the Bible as it happened in the days of Abraham, in the days of Adam. I'm going to be simplifying the stories so that we can understand them much better, and also so that we can understand God also. Right, so last week I started with the story of creation as told in the book of Genesis. Remember, I said God came, when God came to the world, just God's spirit was over the world. There was nothing in this world. The world was just like a huge, vast area filled with water and darkness. So nothing was existing. There were no trees, no houses, no mommy and daddy, nothing at all. The world was empty, and the spirit of God moved over the waters. Then God came and said, let there be light. So on the first day, God created light. He created light, and that light was separated from the dark, and then we had the heavens, we had the day and the night. And on the second day, God separated the water from the land, the water from the sky. So we have the sky, we have the sea, and then we had land. And also on the third day, God created a green vegetation, created the plants, all the seeds, all the plants that we know today. God created them on the third day. And on the fourth day, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars. On that day, he said, let the sun shine during the day, and the moon should provide light during the night. And also the skies are to beautify the stars are to beautify the sky as we know it. And then on the fifth day, God said, this world is too quiet. I want to create something. And then God created the birds of the sky and the fish of the sea on the fifth day. And on the sixth day, God created the animals, your lions, your bears, your deers, your chicken, your turkey, goats, dogs, pets, all kinds of animals. God created the animals. And on that same sixth day, God said, these animals, I need someone to oversee all these animals. I need someone to name all these many animals that I have created. And with that, God spoke with the angels and said, let us create man in our own image. And with that, Adam was formed. Remember, I told you Adam was formed from dust. When God created Adam, he was not alive. But then God breathed the breath of life into Adam, and he came to life. So Adam woke up to this very beautiful Garden of Eden with plants and so many animals, and he had fun time naming all these animals that God had created. He named the lion. He named the bird. Gave them different names. He had a filled time naming all these animals. He was also eating from everything in the Garden of Eden, because there was food, there was water, there were animals to play with. But then also, God then said, if you didn't forget, God then said that Adam feels lonely. God noticed that Adam feels lonely because of everything God had created. None looked like Adam. Animals had 4 legs. The fish had a tail. But Adam had 2 legs and was walking with his 2 legs. And then he looked at all the animals and noticed that none of these animals looked like him. So God said he was going to create another person that was looking and similar to Adam. So I'll continue reading from my book here, from where I stopped last week. God gave Adam his shape and breathed life through his nostrils to Adam. So Adam became alive and started to breathe like all living things do. Adam opened his eyes and found himself in a wonderful garden called Eden, which God has created for him. Adam was so excited about all the many things, all the many animals which were surrounding him in the Garden of Eden. So he began to give all the animals names to tell them from one another. Remember, I also said it. Adam named all the animals so that they can be differentiated from each other. But Adam felt lonely. He felt very, very lonely, because among all the living beings, he did not find any that looked like him. He didn't find any that looked like him. All the animals were looking very, very different. So what did God do? God saw that it was not good for Adam to be alone. And he said, I will create a companion for Adam so that he will not be alone anymore. So God knew that Adam needed companion in the Garden of Eden because he was the only human there. This just goes to tell us that God knows our needs and wants. God knows what you need at every point in time, and he also provides for us according to these needs. So God says, I will create a companion for Adam so that he will not be alone anymore. So Adam fell into a deep sleep, a very deep sleep. You know, the kind of sleep that when it's raining so heavily, you don't even know until you wake up the next morning and you go outside and you see water everywhere. You're like, oh, so it's rained. That kind of sleep. Adam fell into a very deep sleep. God then took out one of his ribs, and from it, he created a companion for Adam called Eve. So when God made Adam to fall into a very deep sleep, he then took a part of Adam's rib and then formed the woman who we know as Eve. So when Adam woke up from his deep sleep and opened his eyes, he saw this new person. He said, she shall be called a woman because she came from a man. So when Adam woke up and saw that Eve was created, he then said, because she was formed from my body, I will call her woman. God blessed Adam and Eve and told them to be happy and enjoy all that he had created. God blessed them so much. They already had everything. But God blessed them and told them to enjoy everything that he had created. Everything. That's the food, the plants, the seeds, the animals. They should play with them. Then they were not scared of anything. They were not scared of the snake. They were not scared of the monkeys. They were not scared of the lion, the tiger. Nothing. They were not scared of anything. Because God blessed them and God told them to enjoy everything that he had created. And then God said, have children and let them help you in taking care of everything which I have created. So God gave Adam and Eve the responsibility of taking care of all the things he had created, which included the animals, by the way. God said, I want every corner of the earth to be full of life, and I want everything to prosper, blossom, and grow. He wanted everything everyone to prosper. He wanted everything to blossom, to be beautiful, to be fruitful, to multiply. He told them, have children, enjoy all the blessings I have created. I created this beautiful garden for you. I created the fish of the sea for you. I created everything for your enjoyment. So just enjoy. That was God's plan for our life. And God also told them, you can eat of everything you find in the garden I have made for you. But do not eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Now, God has given them everything they would ever need in the garden. They can eat any food they find, anything, any fruits of all the many fruits and seeds and plants that God has created. They can eat everything, but do not eat the fruit of tree of knowledge. There was an exception. There was an instruction. It's just like when mommy says, you can watch TV, you can play games, you can do anything you like, but don't go outside. That is an exception. That is an instruction. Don't eat of the fruits of knowledge. That's the tree of good and bad. Do not. That was the only exception God gave to Adam and Eve. And then he said, if you do so, you will die. So God has created everything beautiful, everything wonderful. Adam and Eve, they took charge of everything. They named all the animals. They had enough food to eat. They were living so gracefully, so happily, enjoying everything God had created. And God told them, you can eat anything you want in this garden, except the tree of the of knowledge, except the fruits of the tree of knowledge. If you eat from this particular tree, you will die. That was the instruction God gave to Adam and Eve. So after these first 6 days, when time had just begun and God had created everything, he said, everything is perfect now. This is very, very good. So after God had created everything, he had instructed Adam and Eve on what to do, told them to enjoy. They should not worry about. There was nothing like worry or sadness. They were very happy. They were enjoying, just living a good life. And God told them, eat anything you want of this garden, but do not eat of the tree of knowledge, else you will die. So God now then said, everything is created is very, very good. So that's to tell you that you are good, because you are created in the image of God. I am good. I am perfect because I am created in the image of God, because God is perfect and God created us in his likeness. So you are good the way you are. You are perfect the way you are, because that is God's intention for you. That is God's plan for you. When God created you, he says you are very, very good. So I'll just chip in a little advice. Don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough. Don't let anyone tell you that you are bad, because your creator, which is God, when he created you, he says you are very, very good. So I'll move into the next stage of this story, which is the fall. Recall I said God had given Adam and Eve everything they needed, and they could eat of anything in the Garden of Eden, but God said they cannot eat of the tree of knowledge. That's the tree of the knowledge of good and bad. So it looked as if nothing could destroy the happiness Adam and Eve experienced in the Garden of Eden, where God had created everything so wonderful and perfect. But one day, when Eve was standing near the tree of knowledge, looking at the fruits she could not eat, she heard the voice of a creature named Satan. Now, Eve's first mistake was even looking at the fruits that they have told her not to eat. Because if you remember, God had told them not to eat it. So the best would have been to just stay away from that tree or stay away from the fruit. But she was curious. So she went to the tree, and then a creature named Satan came to her. What happened next? I'll tell you after this short break. So don't go anywhere. There's also lots of surprises and gifts to be won. So gather your friends, turn up the volume, let's have fun and make awesome memories together on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew. Only on Radio Afinju. Yay! Hey there, there, Super Kids! Are you ready for a ride of fun and learning? Get ready to blast off on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew on Radio Afinju every Saturday at 10 to 11 a.m. Listen to stories that will tickle your bones, games that will blow your mind, and music that will make you dance like no one's watching. There's also lots of surprises and gifts to be won. So gather your friends, turn up the volume, let's have fun and make awesome memories together on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew. Only on Radio Afinju. Yay!
I hear the wind as it rustles through the treetops. I hear the leaves as they drink the falling rain.
All right, you're welcome back from that music break. You're still on to my Bible stories on Radio Afinju. If you're just joining us on this show, I tell Bible stories in the most simple way possible, so you don't miss out. Follow us on our social media page: Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok. We are everywhere at Radio Afinju. All right, so before I left, I said God had told Adam and Eve that they could eat anything of the Garden of Eden, everything but one thing. God gave them an exception and an instruction that they should not eat from the tree of knowledge. So Eve was working in the garden, she was strolling, and then she went to that tree and she was looking at that tree. And when she started looking at the tree, thoughts began to come into her head. A creature, which the Bible called the devil or Satan as we know it, came to her. So she heard the voice of Satan. Satan could make himself look like any animal, and he now looked like a snake and said to Eve, "Has God really told you not to eat of the fruit of a tree? Are you really sure God meant what he said?" Now Satan was planting the seed of doubt into Eve's head. Remember, Adam and Eve used to do everything God instructed them to do because they were living very peacefully. There was no reason to disobey God. But when she went to the tree, a creature called Satan, because I will tell the story of Satan as we tell our stories, because Satan also used to be an angel, but he disobeyed God and was casted onto the earth. So that was how he was able to turn himself into any creature he liked. So Satan turned himself into a snake in this instance, and he was telling Eve that, "As God really told you not to eat anything, not to eat of the fruit of a tree, are you really sure God meant what he said?" And Eve said, "Yes, I am sure God has said we cannot eat from this fruit." Then Satan replied again, "But are you sure you cannot just have a little bite of the fruit? I can tell you, they taste really good." Satan tempted him. You know, sometimes when maybe your mom puts a piece of meat on the counter, on the kitchen counter, and told you, "Don't touch it, don't go near it." But the moment you go near it, you begin to hear voices in your head. What if I take a little bite? How will she know? Will she know if I take a very small bite, or if I just take one piece of meat from this plenty piece of meat, will she notice? That's how temptation works. Temptation works by first putting ourselves in a position to be tempted, which was what happened in the case of Eve, because she went to the tree and was looking at the tree. And then the devil had the chance to come and ask her, "Are you really sure God told you not to eat from this tree?" Of which she said, "Of course, God said I should not eat from this tree." But the devil was like, "Are you really sure? Because I am sure the fruit of this tree tastes very, very well." So the moment the devil was able to convince Eve that the fruit tastes very good and nothing will happen if she ate from it, everything just went to dust. So Eve could not stand the temptation. She reached out and took the fruit from the tree. She tasted it and she ate it. So Eve fell for the temptation of Satan. She also gave some of it to Adam, and he ate it too. So Eve did not just eat the fruit of knowledge, she also gave some to Adam to eat, because she was Adam's partner and the only person that looked like Adam. So it was also easy for Adam to collect the fruit from her, because they were like-minded, they looked alike, and she was the closest person in similarity to him. So she gave Adam the fruit and he also ate it. But as soon as they had eaten from the fruit, they felt bad. Exactly the same way it happens when you sin against God. Before you carry out that act, you'll be feeling, will anybody notice? What will happen if you do it? What will happen when you take that meat? When you take that thing mommy has told you not to take? When you take that thing daddy has told you not to take? Or when you do that bad thing, what will happen? You begin to feel, oh, nothing will happen. Oh, they won't even notice. But the moment you do it, you begin to feel guilty. And that is exactly the same way Adam and Eve felt after they ate of the fruit of knowledge. So everything was suddenly different and they were ashamed for what they had done. They also realized that they were naked and were hiding in shame. So Adam and Eve have been naked all this while and they didn't even know. Or maybe they knew, but it didn't matter then, because that's how they were created. They didn't know at all, because there was no knowledge of, oh, you are naked, oh, this is this, oh, that is that. There was no knowledge of that. That's the essence of not eating from the tree of knowledge, because the moment they ate from it, they began to see, oh, we are not clothed, we are not wearing anything. Before, they didn't know they were naked. So that was what happened. That was the consequences of eating from the fruit, from the tree of knowledge. They began to be more aware, more conscious of their actions. And the moment they ate from that tree, they knew they had disobeyed God. So they were ashamed. They also realized that they were naked. And that is how we feel exposed anytime we have done something bad or something that goes against the word of God. We feel exposed. We begin to shy away from God because we know that we have gone against his commandments. In the evening, when God came walking through the garden, Adam and Eve dared not to go out and meet him. So God was calling out, Adam, where are you? God came in the evening, because every time God hangs out with them, they were his people. He created them in his image. So he comes around every time to hang out with them. They used to enjoy God's presence. But this time around, when God came, they were shy. They were ashamed, because one, they knew they had done something bad, and two, they were naked. They felt exposed. So they went to hide in the shrubs. They went to hide among the leaves. Here I am, said Adam. And God could hear now that Adam's voice had completely changed. And God said, so, did you eat from the fruit I had forbidden you to eat? Because it was unusual for them to hide from God. They were never shying away from God. They always enjoyed God's presence. They never shied away. They spent time with God every day. They had no reason to hide from God. But the moment they sinned, they began to what? To move away from him. They began to depart from the presence of God. They went to hide themselves in shame. Same way it happens to us Christians. After we sin, we begin to feel unworthy of God's presence. And God knows, because the moment he called unto Adam in the Garden of Eden, he said, Adam, where are you? He called unto him. And when Adam answered, here I am, God knows something had changed. Because the Adam he knew was not the Adam that was answering him at that moment. Same way when they're asking you questions about something you're not supposed to do and you have done it, you begin to feel fidgety. You begin to stutter. Your voice begins to shake. Why? Because you have done that which you have been commanded not to do. And God then asked, so did you eat from the fruit I had forbidden you to eat? God was asking, did you eat? I told you not to eat this fruit. Did you eat it? Then Adam replied, actually, it was Eve, the woman you gave to me. She made me eat the fruit, Adam said. And then Eve replied, no, it was the evil snake that tempted me and made me eat from the tree. You can see now that both of them, they are now pushing blames to each other. Adam said, oh, it's the woman you gave to me that made me eat the fruit. Eve said, oh, it's the snake that you created that made me eat. So both of them, because they had realized that what they did was wrong, they were now pushing blames on each other. What happened next? Don't worry, I'm going to tell the same story of what happened after Adam and Eve disobeyed God, same time next week. So don't forget, turn on your notifications every